Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the vlog. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. I haven't made a video with the car in a little while, but that doesn't mean that it's not being driven. I am less than 12 hours removed from a 1,000 mile, 13 hour nonstop drive down to New Jersey, and so I'm having a lot of fun with the car, but unfortunately I haven't been able to record a lot with it, a lot of other things going on. But today we are back. It is a beautiful day. There's a little bit of overcast, which is great for the C8 Corvette. The red tends to come in a little pinkish for some reason when there's a lot of sunlight outside. I think it's just the way this GoPro is. But with a little bit of overcast, a lot of nice weather, we are able to make some really fun content with the C8 Corvette. And so I have been making a ton of TRX content because that's new to the channel and there's a lot of hype around that truck, and I'm having a lot of fun getting to know the ins and outs of it. Doing all the usual standard mods that I tend to do with all my vehicles. So the C8's kind of been in the background for a little while, but it's time to bring it back out into the forefront and have some fun with it. And so a wonderfully nice overcast day outside. We got a big pile of sand. I don't know why it's here, but it's here and we're gonna have it in the video today. There is a lot for me to cover in this video, so if you are stopping by for the first time, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Only 10% of my viewers are subscribers, so even if half the people that watch this video subscribe, we would double the size of the channel. And the usual, if you do enjoy this video, definitely give it a big thumbs up. That helps more people find this video, and leave a comment down below. It makes the engagement score of the video go up as well. All little things that help the channel. For anyone that has a C8 Corvette, the intent of this video is simply, hopefully by the end of it, there's one or two things that you can pick up that you might be able to appreciate a little bit more next time you get into your C8. And for anyone that's waiting for their C8, this car is absolutely worth the wait, and hopefully this video gives you a couple of more things to be excited about and look forward to. Because again, if you are on the list, you know you're getting one. Don't matter how long it is, when you get it, all that washes away. And just in case you missed it, I will link up in the top corner as well as in the description the 5 things that I hate about the C8 Corvette. That video did generate a little bit of anger from C8 Squad, and expectedly. The intent of that video was not to bash the vehicle. I said it in that video and I'll say it again. This is the nicest vehicle that I've ever owned. And so this video is going to talk about the 5 things that I like about this car after having had it for nearly 6 months now. And even after 6 months, guys, every time I see this car, it's so beautiful to look at in person. The body lines are just near perfection. The performance, the value, we're going to cover all of that in this video. And as mentioned, I'm fresh off the trip that I took down to New Jersey. It was for a funeral, so I didn't bring my camera. My head really wasn't screwed on straight, so it was just kind of me taking some time to get away from the day-to-day stuff, driving down there, driving back, and I didn't bring the camera with me. But a lot of what I'm going to talk about in today's video is going to be contextualized with my drive yesterday that I'm less than 12 hours removed, because to be honest, I learned so much about this car within the last couple of days on this long road trip that I think make this the perfect time for me to talk about the 5 things that I love about the C8 Corvette. So the number one thing that I love about the C8 Corvette is hands down the transmission. The dual clutch transmission, the DCT, is one of the best transmissions that I've ever experienced in any vehicle, whether it's this car, any trucks that I've ever owned. The shifts are precise, but also some of the technicality and the features that come with this DCT make it so perfect. I know a lot of purists initially were very kind of bummed that there was no manual in it, but if you look at the dashboard configuration, they'd really have to change around a lot for the manual transmission, as well as the structural beam that runs down the middle. If you aren't familiar with the DCT, I can give you guys like a 5,000-foot overview. A DCT is basically a dual clutch transmission. Like the name says, that means you get 2 clutches, one for all your even gears and one for all your odd gears. And so when the transmission is oscillating between, say, first and second, second and third, your odds and evens, one clutch can start disengaging while the second one starts engaging. And what that leads to is a drastic reduction in that cutover time, giving you significantly more precise and quick transmissions. That's just pretty much shift, shift, shift. There's no delay, there's no drop time, as opposed to, say, a traditional transmission that has a torque converter and a single clutch that has to disengage one gear before it can start engaging the next one. One thing I did notice on the trip yesterday is I keep the vehicle's engine and transmission settings in track mode when I'm driving. And what you ultimately get out of that is when you're driving down the highway, let's say at 75 miles an hour, in track mode, the transmission won't hold 7th or 8th gear. It's going to hold 6th. The idea behind that is if you're in a track environment, you don't want to actually have to downshift before powering through the power band for 7th and 8th gear. So it was holding 6th gear in track mode for pretty much the whole highway cruise. In case if at any point I punched it, the car would end up responding immediately, as opposed to that downshift and then power band through. It's always ready and waiting. which is a little bit of a trade-off. You can manually upshift into 7th and 8th gear, but the reason why I like to have it in track mode is simply because then it does not go into 4-cylinder mode. And another thing that I love about the transmission is the feel of these paddle shifters. They are really nice. Now that I got the TRX, I actually appreciate these a little bit more. The TRX paddles kind of feel a little bit flimsy. They're cut out in the middle. They just don't feel right. I think the Raptor had the best paddles, but the C8 definitely does a great job with their paddle shifters, making the engagement with the transmission a little bit better. As well as, if you have not seen it, I have some tips and tricks around the transmission and the paddle shifters in another video that I made on the channel. So I won't hash that out, but you can hold both of them down to enter rev mode, and I think that's a high-end like supercar feature that most performance or sport cars don't come with. But I absolutely love it about the C8. When you're driving, you can basically just drop it into neutral and rev it, it's just really cool and easy to do. And the best part is because it's a dual clutch, the transmission doesn't miss a beat. When you go in and out of neutral for rev mode, it immediately gets the right gear and you can continue going like flawlessly. So the number 2 thing on my list of things that I love about this C8 Corvette is the price for performance. It is just absolutely insane to think that for $60,000, this one is an $82,000 spec, but for $62,000 you can basically get this exact same performance. And this is a platform and performance level that is likened with cars that are 3 to 4 times its value. When you think of mid-engine supercars, you think of the Audi R8, the BMW i8, some of the base entry-level McLarens, or even for some people the Huracan. And yes, I get it, the C8 might not be there on top end performance, but on the low end, this car is just as fast, it's just as quick, it's just as enjoyable, and it's significantly more practical than some of those 3 to 4 times performance vehicles. I have yet to see a comparison compared to one car that I think that the C8 Corvette is directly in competition with. And that is the McLaren GT. That's a car that not a lot of people know about because it wasn't a huge sales success for McLaren. It came out right around the time that the C8 did. The base price on a McLaren GT is $210,000. It's 612 horsepower, which again on the top end will make a difference compared to the C8. Both cars are around 3,400 pounds. They're about 15 in the city, 22, 25, somewhere in that ballpark on the highway. They were both designed to be grand touring mid-engine supercars. And the fact is that this car on the low end, 0 to 60, same time, 2.9 seconds. Both have dual clutch transmissions with V8s. The fact that that car starts at $210,000, whereas opposed to this starts at $60,000, just tells you how much performance you're getting for an amazing deal. This gives you all that attention, all that power, all that feel with significantly more practicality for a price that somebody like me can afford. And I absolutely love that. Number 3 on my list of things that I love about the C8 Corvette is the amount of customization options that you get. And this one will be quick. I think you can play around with the visual configurator on Corvette's site to really see how much customization you can have. But the reality is this vehicle was custom tailored the way I wanted it. Yes, I waited 14 months for it, but every color, every package, every feature was what I wanted, and I can customize it that way. It's amazing to think that you can get a C8 Corvette ranging from everything absolutely blacked out to the most clown car you can make. If you wanted red calipers with black wheels on a yellow body with blue seats and a blue seat belt, it's like you can configure it to be exactly what you want. I went with the two-tone interior, and we'll get into that in a second, with the yellow caliper, Spectre gray, and red. And the fact is there's just so many different cross combinations you can have with the C8 that you can truly make this car your own. And option it out all the way that you want with all the tech features and everything, and you might barely break $100,000 when the next best thing is at least 2 times as much. And that kind of goes to point number 2 around the value of it and the amount of customization you can get. Again, I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to have this car in their garage. Number 4 on my list of things that I love about the C8 Corvette is the technology that comes with it. I will throw up a picture on the screen. Yes, this is very painful to watch, but unfortunately stuff like this happens. This person was in the far right lane. It looks like they tried to take a left turn and they couldn't see somebody in their blind spot, and they smashed into the side of another car and wrecked their C8 Corvette. This was a 1LT, and the one thing that it didn't have that probably could have saved them in that instance is the rear view camera. Here you guys can see in this video, it just gives you a really good amount of visibility kind of behind you to be able to see what's in your blind spots. And it's those little things that make this truly an amazing vehicle. The TRX has a rear view camera as well, but it's kind of useless because that vehicle doesn't have blind spots. But the way the C8 Corvette is, these pillars produce an insanely high amount of visibility issues, and that camera is a tremendous lifesaver. And I love the fact that this vehicle, even at this price point, offers technology like that. The second piece of technology that I absolutely love is also the front lift system. And what I love about that is how quickly it is to respond. I don't have 2 people to be able to kind of show everybody that, but This system has kind of relegated the original McLaren's 570S system as a bit of a joke, because that would take 20 to 30 seconds for you to go into the settings, into the safety features, into the front lift system, press the button, and then it takes about 8 to 10 seconds for the front to actually lift up. This is instantaneous. When I press the button on the center console, this is lifted within, I want to say, less than like 5 seconds. And they make the button super easy to access. It's right there for the driver to press on demand whenever they need it if they're going under 30 miles an hour. And between the camera and the front lift system, I can't tell you how much easier it makes somebody to drive this vehicle, especially like myself, who comes from pickup trucks that have tremendous side mirrors, very little blind spots, and huge ground clearance to not have to worry about any of that. And I grew a new appreciation for the front lift system when I went to New Jersey yesterday. For anyone that's watching from New Jersey, I'm sorry, I really am. You live in New Jersey. Roads around here aren't that bad, driveways around here aren't that bad, but for some reason New Jersey is just a pain in the neck to drive through. And the front lift system makes it so much better to be able to pull into driveways, pull into parking lots. And you don't appreciate it as much until you go to a place like New Jersey and you realize how horrible the driving conditions are. You start to appreciate some of this technology that's designed to make people in those kinds of environments feel a little better and a little easier when they're driving. And the number 5 thing that I love about the C8 Corvette is hands down the interior. I have driven this route to New Jersey. I have family that lives down there, probably 6 or 7 times in the Escalade, 3 or 4 times in the Expedition Max that I had. I want to say 2 or 3 times in the Raptor, a couple times in a 99 F350. I have not done that route in the TRX, but this was my first time making that route and that journey in the C8 Corvette. And I don't think I've ever returned home, got out of the vehicle, and felt as refreshed and as comfortable as I did when I got out of the C8 Corvette. Even the Raptor, even the Escalade, when I got out of it, I'd feel a little bit sore, my ankle would hurt. I felt like I came out of a 12-hour ride, but when I got out of this, the entire drive up was just so much fun. I was constantly listening to the exhaust, taking the top off, putting the top on in certain locations. It was just a truly amazing drive, but it was extremely comfortable. And it doesn't end there. The fit and finish of the interior is perfect. You have all soft touch materials everywhere that matters. You have the two-tone contrast stitching. You can upgrade these to carbon fiber. This is the base kind of like aluminized material, but you can get this in carbon fiber, as well as you get these really, really nice brushed kind of metallic speaker grills that kind of just add a nice touch to it. Really nice door sills. It's a really, really nice setup of the interior. Hard plastics where you kind of need them, where you run the risk of kind of shoe scuffing it. And then you get into these beautiful seats. The GT2 seats, I've talked about them before, so I don't want to get into them. But again, just look at the beauty of this seat and the carbon fiber contrast with the two-tone. And most importantly, I never really grew an appreciation of it, but this dash is fantastic, especially on the driver's side. But you can see a little bit here. They have this really nice flowing contour. I mean, and I apologize if the car's a little filthy. I didn't get a chance to wash it today. But one thing I also noticed is that the seat icons, people said that this could get confusing. Having owned this car, I absolutely love this center layout, and I hope GM doesn't change it in the future renditions of the Corvette. It works. All the buttons are reachable. They're very self-explanatory. All the top controls are for the driver's side. The bottom controls are for the passenger side. The one thing that I never noticed is that the passenger controls have the seat facing the passenger, whereas the driver controls have the pictures facing the driver. So everything is tremendously intuitive. I love the flat bottom steering wheel at the tops and at the bottom. I think it just adds a really, really nice engaging feel. When you're in this car, this interior just inspires tremendous amounts of confidence, and I love it. I never thought I could love something that wasn't a truck as much as I've grown to love this car, but I just can't tell you how amazing this vehicle is. And so all in all, guys, GM did a fantastic job with this interior. It's just tremendously comfortable. My first long road trip, I can tell you, all the cars that I listed, they were not as comfortable on that exact same road trip as how I felt when I got out of this car, and that says so much. And there's just so many other things that I'd love to talk about. It's so much harder to outline 5 things that you love about this car because there's 100 things to like about it. And so hats off to GM. They invented something absolutely phenomenal. This platform for the next many years is going to be one of the best things. Just the design language, the styling cues, the amount of attention this car gets. Obviously that's aftermarket. Check out the Corsa video to get the sights and sound of that. But in more ways than one, this is the best vehicle that I have ever owned, guys. And just like that, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. If you have not already, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you're wondering why I have such a crappy angle right now, I did decide to climb this random pile of sand. I don't know why. The all-weather floor mats on the C8 Corvette, absolutely perfect investment, especially for an idiot like me, because yeah. And so guys, just like that, until the very next video, I will see you all in the comment section below.